Miss T.
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 Can't wait for you to meet Miss T. She is the T in T.
And welcome back. So I have something really neat to share with you. Not very long ago, I did a panel at a Women in Business conference. A curious question came up as it pertained to a panel discussion that I did. How did you know what profession or what career you were going to go into? And so some people were offering, oh, I went to school, or I studied this in college, or I really like this. And so my response was different. My response was first that, number one, whatever your it is, you've been doing it your whole life. And you typically fall into or navigate towards the things that are innately ingrained or woven in you based on the families you're born into, the communities that you live in, and then you're just organic wiring. And so when I look at, the path that I've taken by way of career development, if you want to call it that, I could see that I've been doing this literally my entire life. The evidence of how I've lived or how I've served or how I've given or how I've helped other people develop, the evidence of that is what some would call a career. So let me rewind a little bit. When I was asked the question, I kind of, it took me back just for a moment. I do a lot by way of youth programming. I create the programs that not only help kids grow and develop, it also helps entrepreneurs become entrepreneurs, but I also create programs that help people feel and live safe. And it happens because they're growing in their safe bubble. It also happens to do some level of shifting, for their lifestyles. And so when I scan back, I've mentioned this several times. I was born into a family of 6, and my mom was a single mom, and we didn't have money. We lived in poverty. And I don't always know how to explain that or paint that for people, because poverty today is very different from poverty yesterday. Looking at, the kind of stuff that we had to do for entertainment growing up, it was, it's not, we didn't watch TVs, we didn't have iPads, we couldn't, scan things, but we had to make up games. Sometimes my mom, and people don't do this anymore, I wish they would because it's good, but she would lock us outside just so she could have some peace, is what she would say. I mean, 6 kids, can you imagine single-handedly raising, to the best of your limited ability, 6 kids? Now, we weren't bad kids, we were just kids. So having that experience, I would build recreational activities in our, around our house for my little brothers and sisters to engage in. And that was anywhere from music classes where we're just taking sticks and banging on things and making beats. I'm a percussionist today as a result. Thank you, Sheila E., for being my role model. I would also build obstacle courses and make kid games and learning games as a result of me wanting my little brothers and sisters to do something safe, because if we weren't engaged in those sorts of things, there's either drug running, gang banging, and the list is very, very long, just because of environment where we grew up. And so I didn't want that for my siblings. But fast forward to what I'm doing today. Today, I'm still developing programs for edutainment, but it started many, many, many years ago. And so the moderator, back to the panel, back to the moderator, she says, what do you do for a career? Everybody gives their thing. And I said, I think that you already know what your thing is. I think that people are born with it. And I think that because you're born with your thing, you're also born with the capacity to do the thing. And the more you step into doing your thing, whatever your thing is, and your thing is different from everybody else's thing because there's only one human you. But the more you step into it, what that does is it builds the capacity for you to not only do more, but see what you have the ability to do more. And that seeing, it happens inside of you. I think, people wait to see something on the exterior where that's not how it happens, or that's not where the big trajectory shifts happen. They first happen interiorly and then present themselves exteriorly. And why is that? Because if you don't see it, if you don't believe it, if it's not built in you first, it doesn't have permission to become something tangible for the rest of the world to see. And so as I'm scanning and talking people through this in this conference, I'm realizing that the thread of what I'm doing today has always been a part of my life. And the challenge is there's so many different things that will impact your ability to see who you are. Just remember, you live in a time, you live in an atmosphere where everything is trying to dictate your identity, which is why if you don't take the time to study you won't even know what you have the capacity to do. So what does that look like? Number one, spend time with yourself. People don't like to spend time with themselves, but I'm telling you, spend time with yourself and study you. What makes you tick? What makes you click? What makes you mad and why? What makes you crack up laughing and who does that for you and with you? These are the sorts of things that you want to know, because those are the clues or the evidence, the building blocks, if you will, for anything that looks like success in a career. You've got to know you first. And then secondly, as you're learning these things about yourself, document it. You already knew I was going to say it. You got to write this stuff down. If you're not documenting your discoveries, your self-discoveries, your interior discoveries, you can forget that when this sound happens or when this smell happens, that it triggers a thing which causes you to respond in a certain way. If you're not documenting it, you can't either grow from it or grow as a result of it. And then thirdly, I would like to extend, don't question who you are. You are who you are. And I think if you study you the way the algorithms study you, you'll know better how to evolve, how to develop, and how to stand alone when nobody in the world can see or know what you see or know. And that's not a bad thing. Standing alone sometimes is not a bad thing. Again, right now I'm recording this video from a 44,000 square foot headquarters that I purchased. I purchased a whole block. I have a block. Oh my gosh. And the reason I'm sharing that is because it was a hard thing. And I couldn't get anybody else to see that I had the capacity and capability to be a commercial property owner with this much space. I knew I could do it, but I saw me doing it first. And so, when you start to take a look at your life, or you're wanting to do a shift in your career, or you arrive to a place like I did at, one point in time where it's time for you to catapult or take a quantum leap upward into the unknown. If you will just start with studying you. Look for the threads, look for the trends, look for the things that bring you extreme joy. Look for the things that impassion you so that you respond in a way that shows that you are so invested in this thing, and track it. Once you learn how to do that, you will know exactly what you should do by way of career, but also what you should do by way of showing up in the world and bringing that it thing that only you can bring that makes this world a better place. So my advice to you today is study yourself. Study thyself so you can grow thyself, so you can know thyself. It all starts with you. You are the precious, valuable gift to the world. And if you don't know you don't know how to appreciate you, and you'll have a hard time expressing you. And I promise the world needs you to express you. So thank you for tuning in today. I hope this helps. If it did, leave some comments so that other people can be a part of your learning and growth process. And then also make sure you're liking it, you're sharing it. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe. What are you waiting for? You got to subscribe to this stuff so you know when the other stuff comes out. Thank you for tuning in. I'm T with Sweet Tea Time. I'll see you again next time.